My mother-in-law tried to prove I was a gold digger at our engagement dinner. Her plan backfired spectacularly. From the moment I started dating Michael, his mother decided I was after his money. Never mind that when we met, I was a pediatric nurse making more than he was as a grad student. Never mind that I paid for most of our early dates because his stipend barely covered rent. According to Nancy, I had somehow detected the family wealth and targeted her son. For 2 years, I endured her subtle jabs, asking about my modest upbringing at family gatherings, lightening to guesting friend-up lawyers before we were even engaged. Michael would apologize later, assuring me his mother was just protective. She'll warm up to you, he promised. Just give her time. When Michael proposed, Nancy insisted on hosting an engagement dinner at her country club to welcome me properly into the family. I was skeptical but hopeful. Maybe this was her olive branch. I should have known better. 20 minutes into dinner, Nancy clinked her glass. Before we toast the happy couple, I've prepared a little surprise. She nodded to a waiter who distributed sealed envelopes to everyone at the table. Inside each envelope is a little questionnaire, Nancy explained with a tight smile. Just a fun game to see how well our families know each other before they join. I opened mine to find questions like, how much was Michael's first allowance embroiled? What year was the Henderson Family Trust established? Embroil named the prep school Michael attended. Then I saw the final question. What is the approximate net worth of the Henderson family holdings? My hands started shaking. This wasn't a game, parent. It was a public ambush designed to expose my gold-digging motives. Nancy was watching me with barely concealed triumph. This is inappropriate, Michael whispered, his face flushed with anger. We're leaving, but I placed a hand on his arm. Actually, I'd love to play. I smiled directly at Nancy. But since this is about getting to know both families, I took the liberty of creating my own questionnaire too. I reached into my purse and pulled out my own stack of envelopes, which I'd prepared after Michael warned me his mother was planning something special. I handed them to the confused waiter to distribute. I thought we should learn about each other's professional lives too, I explained as Nancy reluctantly opened hers. My questions included, what is the difference between a viral and bacterial infection? How many bones are in the human hand impaled? What medication would you administer to a child having an asthma attack impaled? What week of pregnancy can a fetus typically survive outside the womb? The final question read, true or false, a pediatric nurse with 6 years of experience makes approximately $20,000 more annually than a second-year graduate student in environment and science. The table fell silent. Michael's father started laughing, first parent, a deep, genuine belly laugh. She got you good, Nancy, he said, throwing down his pen. Nancy's face cycled through confusion, anger, and finally embarrassment as she realized everyone at the table understood exactly what she tried to do. And how spectacularly it had backfired. Michael's sister leaned over and stage whispered, for the record, I've always thought Mom was crazy about this. I know for a fact you turned down a date with Eric Portercourt, who's literally a trust fund baby pert, to go out with my disaster of a brother when he couldn't even afford to buy you dinner. The dinner actually turned pleasant after that. Nancy remained mostly silent, but the rest of the family suddenly had a lot of questions about my work in pediatric intensive care. As we were leaving, Michael's father pulled me aside. You stood your ground without being cruel, he said quietly. Nancy's been wrong about a lot of things, but she's not stupid. You won her respect tonight, even if she'll never admit it. Sure enough, at our wedding 6 months later, Nancy approached me with a crystal flute of champagne. I've enrolled in a first aid certification course, she said stiffly. I thought it might be useful to understand more about your profession. It wasn't an apology, but in Nancy language it was a white flag, and sometimes that's enough for a start.